Over to our SABC senior reporter Mzwandile Mbeshe, who's been following the inquiry for us. Mzwai, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. And I suppose today really was no different. More revelations and high-profile politicians' names implicated once again.
Absolutely, Palisa. As you said, I mean, there were a number of names that were mentioned here by some of the whistleblowers, people who were working at Bosasa, basically telling us that they had done so many things for politicians, really, all that at the instruction of Gavin Watson and, of course, Angelo Agrizi. But before perhaps I speak about what transpired earlier, Palisa, maybe let's talk about what has just happened today. We had a witness by the name of Leon van Donner. Remember, at some point we had another van Donner here, so we understand that they are actually brothers. So basically this one, Leon van Donner, was the guy who was working at the IT. You'd remember that in the evidence of Angelo Agrizi, when the SIU wanted to do the investigations, they were instructed at some point to delete some of the files that were incriminating, or some of the files really that was going to land into the hands of the investigators, and then as a result they would be in trouble. So this individual, Mr. van Donner, then was given the responsibility of deleting all the files that was going to implicate the company. I mean, he says as much as he was very uncomfortable to do that, he had to do it because he was afraid of Mr. Gavin Watson. But he says in the course of deleting some of those files, Balisa, so he copied some of the documents because he said in his own words, he wanted to protect himself in future. That's when perhaps the investigation would then point towards him. So he would be able to say, yes, I did what I did because I had been instructed to do it, but actually I did not want to do it, so that is why I kept those files. So it's really part of the evidence that we've had over the number of days that we've been here, which is somehow being corroborated by these whistleblowers. Remember, Angelo Agrizi did tell us that there were a number of people who were tired of what was happening there, and then they wanted to spill the beans, but somehow he was roped in to try and persuade them from doing that. But it does seem like they are going ahead anyway. In fact, he himself decided to come here knowing fully well that whatever he is saying here could implicate himself, because a number of wrongdoings that were done at his instruction, and he himself did some of those, Balisa. But if we go back perhaps to the earlier statements about the other witness who testified this morning, Richard le Roux, who basically was talking about upgrading, rather fencing, and putting security systems at the homes of high-profile politicians. So it was quite interesting because what he was saying, so when he was carrying out all that work, he would basically, they were going to go there without any branding, so, and then they would not need to mention anything to do with Bosasa, because it's clear that these special projects, as they were known, so were probably done at the instruction of the higher powers, and the fact that they would not be done openly, so it does tell you that there was a lot of wrongdoing, or rather illegality, that was involved. So basically the names of someone like the chairperson of the ANC currently, Gwede Mantashe, so who they said they attended to about 3 properties of his, the name of Environmental Affairs Minister Nomvula Mokonyane, the name of Deputy Minister Thabang Makwetla, the name of Vincent Smith, the MP, Lindamti, and those are some of the people. But also interesting, Balisa, is that we also had the name of, I understand, the Chief Magistrate, I think at the Pretoria office, Magistrate Desmond Naya also being mentioned. So this makes it very, very interesting.
We have to leave it at that for now, but thank you so much for that update. SABC senior reporter Mzondile Mbeje, of course, joining us live from Parktown in Johannesburg, where the commission looking into state capture, of course, had just adjourned, and the commission will resume tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
In the meantime, lots of action taking place